We tend to treat loneliness like a mood, a personal flaw, or a temporary bout of sadness we just need to shake off. But your brain processes it as a hardwired biological survival mechanism, exactly like physical pain or intense hunger. You can be surrounded by thousands of people in a dense city, or swiping through hundreds of digital updates, and still feel entirely isolated. The connection your brain is looking for isn't measured in volume. Dr. Julianne Holt-Lunstad's research reveals that this lack of meaningful connection takes a measurable physical toll on the human body, drastically impacting our health and our lifespan. Loneliness functions as an ancient physiological state that demands immediate attention, much like the thirst that signals a need for water. The numbers behind Holt-Lunstad's data are striking. Her team established that chronic loneliness increases your risk for premature mortality by 26. In a 2010 meta-analysis benchmarking this effect against known risk factors, her team found that lacking social connection is comparable to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. This elevated mortality rate happens because the body processes severe social isolation as an ongoing physical stressor. Your nervous system stays locked in a state of high alert. Living with chronic, unaddressed loneliness triggers a biological cascade that slowly poisons the human body. To understand why the body reacts this way, psychologist Dr. John Cacioppo developed the evolutionary theory of loneliness. He argued that early humans did not survive because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they maintained tight group cohesion. For a prehistoric human, drifting away from the group meant losing access to essential food, warmth, and protection. Being separated meant almost certain death, so evolution installed a powerful biological alarm to prevent us from wandering off. Modern neuroscience maps this alarm to the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, or DACC. This brain region lights up from physical tissue damage. When you feel rejected or lonely, that exact same neural node fires, processing social exclusion with identical circuitry. A broken heart is a neurologically real pain. Evolution made it hurt because the discomfort is designed to force us back to the safety of the group. But a problem arises when a person remains isolated. If you can't immediately find your way back to a supportive group, the brain snaps into a deep self-preservation mode. Your threat detection center becomes hypervigilant. It scans for danger, misinterpreting neutral social cues as outright rejection. Perceiving a threat, the brain prepares for physical attack. Cortisol spikes, immune gene expression changes, and systemic inflammation washes through the body. This hypervigilance traps lonely people in a brutal psychological cycle. Everything feels like a potential threat, so they preemptively pull away from the exact social interactions that could help them. The body's ancient defense mechanism actively sabotages modern social recovery. The brain tries to protect itself from further pain, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of total isolation. Breaking out of this cycle requires understanding the difference between objective isolation, which is being physically alone, and perceived isolation, which is feeling unsafe and unseen. You can spend hours scrolling through social media feeds, absorbing hundreds of updates, but the brain does not register this as connection. It fails to meet our strict evolutionary criteria for belonging. The internal alarm system only quiets down when the brain registers genuine psychological safety, mutual trust, and a shared experience. Satisfying the brain's need for safety requires building a smaller, deeper circle of trustworthy bonds, rather than accumulating a larger crowd of shallow acquaintances. You don't need a massive social overhaul to fix this. A recent study out of BYU demonstrated a simple way to biohack this ancient alarm system. Researchers found that when individuals performed small, intentional acts of kindness for their neighbors, their brains released oxytocin. This sudden wash of oxytocin immediately quiets the amygdala's threat system. It reduces social anxiety, lowers inflammation, and effectively turns off the biological loneliness alarm. Try bypassing the passive digital scrolling today. Share this video with one person you haven't spoken to recently, and just tell them you're thinking of them. Loneliness is an alarm signaling a need for the tribe. Reaching out to support someone else is how we stabilize our own biology.